Hi, this is Helena Hart, and I'm talking with Laura Kennedy today. Laura is a soulmate attraction coach who helps women shift their vibe to attract the man and relationship they've always wanted. I'm so excited to talk about this topic in particular today. So, welcome, Laura. Thank you so much for being here.
Hello, Helena. Thanks so much for having me. I'm super excited to chat.
I've been excited to talk with you actually all week because we have so much synergy around this topic, even though we come at it from different perspectives. So I'm so excited to just jump right in. What would you say is the number one thing a woman needs to know or do in order to attract that man or that relationship that she's always wanted?
Yes, that is a great question. So it's really, really interesting because I'm seeing and hearing a lot from women these days that they feel like they have to be online, or they feel like they have to be going to, a ton of meetups or speed dating events or things like that. And I actually don't agree with that per se. I think those things are great and, definitely opens up opportunity. But I would actually say the number one thing that is most important for a woman to do is to shift her love vibration. And basically, what that means is it's all about shifting your mindset, your energy, your perceptions about dating, and basically your perceptions about your experiences that you've had, so that you are giving off the right energy. And when you're doing that, like I said, going on online dating or to meetups can be great too, but you might not even have to, right? If you're in this kind of state of energy that's super magnetic and attractive, chances are you're going to meet someone at the grocery store or going for a coffee or something. So it's really, really key. No matter what type of situations you're putting yourself in, you need to have that down first, in my opinion.
I love that. And that's so different that when most people say, and I know everyone is just going to love your message because that's one of the number one things I hear from potential clients is I don't want to online date, or I'm not open to going to meetups and speed dating. And I can see what you're saying, how there's this one way of doing it where like, okay, I'm going to get online, I'm going to meet 100 men and strategically try and find my Mr. Right. And we can give you tools to do all those things, but if you don't have this mindset and this love vibration you're talking about first, I can see how it would lead to a lot of burnout if you have been doing this for a long time and you aren't getting results. Is that something you see with your clients?
Absolutely. Yeah. Clients and just women in general these days, I find, understandably so, when things get tough, it can be easy for us to get frustrated and want to give up. But it's that kind of mindset or approach or energy that is actually kind of counterintuitive to the whole process, right? It's the opposite that you want to do, is getting into this high vibration and high energy that's really open and positive, so that it is magnetic, right, to bringing in that person. But yeah, it's really common for people to, go online, for example, and have a string of bad experiences, and then they think, oh, this isn't working. But it's not necessarily the online dating that's not working. It's because they're letting those negative experiences affect them in the way that it is. Basically change what's going on for them, or it's preventing them from actually attracting in the person that's right for them. So again, it's not that online dating is bad, or that these meetups are bad, or that, they're not the way to go. It's just that you want to make sure that you have that love vibration at a high level, no matter if you're on those platforms, or, like I said, if you're just kind of more out and about and looking for opportunities in everyday life that might seem slim on the surface, but there actually are so many opportunities that surround us every day. And it's when we make that shift that we can actually see them.
Amazing. I am just like so excited to dive into this with you. And Laura's going to tell you exactly how to do this and shift into your love vibration. So make sure to watch this all the way through. Before we get into that though, what are some things you see? Like, what are some struggles you see in women? Like, what's the opposite of having this high love vibration that's keeping women stuck, maybe attracting the wrong kind of men, or stuck in relationships where the man maybe isn't quite stepping up in the way she needs him to. I'd love to hear anything you have to say on that.
Yeah, exactly. So just to kind of reiterate a little bit, I know I went over it pretty quickly, what a love vibration is, or how to have a high love vibration. Again, it's this mindset and attitude and approach that is open and that's positive and hopeful. And it's really magnetic, right? Like that's where we want to be. So when someone is not there quite yet, and first of all, I want to say there's no judgment because I was there myself before I met Caleb, my partner. You know, and we're kind of in a sense sometimes conditioned to not be there because of the experience that we've had, or more so because of how we've allowed them to affect us. So just wanted to throw that out there first. But yeah, basically, when you don't quite yet have that high love vibration, what I tend to see in women is, like I said, people feeling pretty down, pretty discouraged. They start to lose hope and they start to actually question if they are meant to find love, or if they're meant to find a soulmate or a partner or have that in their life. And when that happens, I mean, it's just heartbreaking for me to see. Because I mean, I'm sure you can relate, Helena, like we see this for people so much because we've experienced it, right? And
and we've seen clients who are in that same situation, you know, totally turn it around. Yeah, but we've all been there ourselves too, right? Like maybe what I want isn't out there. I totally get that. So what do you do? I love everything you're saying so much. Oh my gosh. What do you do? What do you have a woman do to start shifting her towards this direction that's going to actually serve her?
For sure. Yeah. So I actually use a bit of a different, unique approach in terms of shifting your love vibration. And you may kind of guess from the Buddha behind me and kind of my hippy dippy jewelry, which I love. So I actually love yoga philosophy and yogic principles, and they've made a huge, huge impact on my life personally, particularly in my love life. So when I was single and struggling, like many of these women are that we're speaking to and talking about, where the love vibration is not where we want it to be or it needs to be. For me, I started studying these yogic principles and applying them to my love life. And that's when things just shifted and changed dramatically. And I've seen it happen for my clients as well. So there's 10 main yogic principles that I actually use, mostly as a basis. But for everyone, there's some that are going to be more important than others. So it's using certain principles basically to create this shift in their mindset, in their energy, and in their love vibration.
I love that. I don't know if you want to go over all 10 or maybe just like a few key ones. What are like a couple of your favorites? I'd love to hear about those.
Yes. Yeah. I probably won't go into all 10 because I also love to talk about them. So I would be on here for hours.
We'd be here forever.
Yeah. Which, I mean, maybe we could do another segment sometime.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, one that I see really common, I'll say, that tends to be missing, or when people aren't in a high vibration, is basically they're missing the main principle of non-attachment. And each of these principles, I should say too, I mean, they go back thousands of years. They're ancient. They all have beautiful Sanskrit names. So non-attachment is also, in Sanskrit, it's translated to aparigraha. So just a fun little fact I throw in there. So non-attachment, or aparigraha, basically is this whole concept of releasing and letting go and not clinging. And so when we see people that are in a bit of a lower love vibration, they're doing the opposite of that oftentimes. They're clinging to, maybe it's a past relationship, and sometimes we don't even know we're doing that, right? It's in our subconscious so much. or maybe they're clinging to a certain person that they've gone on a few dates with, and they really, really, really want it to work. So they're doing everything they can. They're trying to maybe show up in a way that they think this person is looking for, or maybe they're clinging to this working out at all, right? They're clinging to, the idea that they have to have this in order to make them happy, or that it works out in a certain time frame, right? Or a certain way. So often I see women saying, I'm getting older and, the clock is ticking kind of thing, right? And it's like they're really attached to a certain time frame or a certain way of it working out. So those are just a couple examples of one.
Yeah, I'm so glad that that's one of them that you wanted to share. I talk so much about releasing your attachment to the outcome or the result. It's a very feminine energy place to come from, as you know. If, a lot of people watching this, if you've seen my other videos, I'm all about getting into your feminine energy. It's the opposite would be masculine energy. Trying to make things happen, being very attached to making the man the goal or the prize, or, rather than getting into the present moment and releasing your attachment to the outcome. It can be so difficult. I certainly can get into this in all areas of my life still. And, I'm very practiced at this. So do you have any tools for women who are maybe in that energy where they're either clinging to a man or very attached to the outcome of all of these interactions that they're having?
Yeah, exactly. So this is one of the many things that I love about these yogic principles as well, is so many of them tie into one another. So another that can help with practicing non-attachment is this whole idea of trust and surrender. And that is one of the principles in Sanskrit. I love the name of it. It's Ishvara Pranidhana. It's so, so beautiful to say. And so it's this whole concept of really trusting and surrendering to a higher power. And it's not to say that that's passive. That's something I always like to kind of put a little asterisk by. It can be actually a very active thing. So sometimes an analogy I like to kind of make with it is if any of you practice yoga, at the very end of the class, you're laying there in Shavasana or corpse pose, right? And that is really when you're surrendering, right? You're just laying there, you're letting it all go. So surrender and non-attachment, oftentimes I find they go hand in hand. And you're laying there, you've just given it your all in a let's say 60-minute yoga class. And you're just surrendering and you're trusting that you're exactly where you need to be, that you are a super capable, amazing person, and that you're being supported by something higher than yourself, right? And it doesn't have to be too fancy. I often say to my clients or the women in my community that it doesn't matter if you're religious or if you have a certain belief. It's just kind of this knowing that something else has your back as well, right? So, I talk so much about co-creation as well, right? And kind of the balance between the fact that we have a role to play in what our lives look like, absolutely. But there's also a role of something else, right? Something greater than us. That's something I really, really believe in. So the more that you're able to lean into this principle of trust, of surrender, the more that you will be able to let go and non-attach, and it'll kind of come more naturally. And one of the ways that you can do that is really getting in touch with your spiritual side or your beliefs. So whatever that looks like for you, it's very, very individual, but just doing something that really makes you feel in tune with yourself and with a higher power.
I love that. I feel like we should do a whole video just on that one topic, because we could both probably just talk forever about that. One thing I did want to ask is, what effect does that have? Let's say if a woman is dating or with a man, when she surrenders, when she releases her attachment to the result or the outcome, what effect does that have in the potential relationship?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm so glad that we're talking about this one principle in particular. And again, there's so many of them that can work into shifting your vibration, and it really does depend on the person. But when you apply this, and this is one of the ones that I see most commonly, it really allows you to kind of relax and just be at ease, right? And who doesn't want to feel that? I mean, I know for me, before I met Caleb, like I said, I was, going out on dates here and there or meeting men. And for the ones that I was really hopeful that it would work out with, I was kind of feeling anxious or nervous, and always kind of second guessing things, right? And so I think when you really settle into these principles and these concepts, you're able just to kind of take a deep breath and go with the flow, right? It's like being in flow and being in alignment. And not only do you come across as more confident, and you are more confident because you're secure, right? Because you know deep in your bones that if it isn't this guy, it's going to be the next one or the next one. You just know that the universe has your back, right? It's a quote from Gabby Bernstein, but it's like you are supported, and you just trust that whatever is going to work out will work out, or that you're going to be taken care of. So you're more confident, you feel more at ease. And as a result, that's extremely attractive to these potential men, right? That or potential partners for you, I should say. So it's an extremely, extremely attractive quality. And I know when I met Caleb, actually, just a really quick side note as a funny story, one of my best friends had said, are you interested in him? Like, you seem so relaxed and so at ease. And it was like, oh yeah, no, I really, really enjoy this guy. I'm, very excited to see where it goes. But it was just, I had a whole different energy about myself. And, I don't think it's ironic that that's why we worked out, right? Or that we did work out, because it was just my love vibration shift, right? It was completely different this time around.
Amazing. I love that so much. And yeah, as women, we can feel the difference, but it's easy to lean back and who cares about the outcome with a guy that you don't really like all that much, or who you don't care if you see again. But the ones where we're actually interested, that's where we can get attached to the outcome, go up in our heads, get anxious, right? So do you have any specific tools for women to shift them into their love vibration and get this like high vibe thing down, so when the right man shows up who they actually are attracted to, they can embody it and they don't like slip into their default patterns? Because that's something I see a lot too.
Yes, exactly. Well, that's the thing. I mean, it really is so specific to the individual. And that's kind of why I mentioned, there's 10 principles. So many of them apply for different people. But one of the other principles is self-study, or svadhyaya in Sanskrit. And basically what that is taking a really close look at yourself and which patterns you do have, which, thought patterns, which tendencies, which stories you tend to go to. And so, once you can really get mindful and in tune with yourself and what tends to come up, that's when you can kind of have basically a better idea of which specific principles you do need to apply in order to shift your vibration. So, I wish I had one specific answer that would solve it for everyone, but we are unique individuals, right? And what I might have struggled with might be very different from what you might have struggled with, or anyone else. But what I do have is a tool that maybe we can share, Helena, and basically it walks you through this a little bit further, and it goes through 3 of the yogic principles a bit more in depth, and it has some tools in that workbook, as well as some reflection spaces, and some guidance in terms of how this, how each individual basically can take a step forward that makes sense for them based on where they're at. So that's my soulmate attraction guide.
Awesome. And I think I understand you were offering that for free, right? For anyone watching this interview. Perfect. So I will post a link to that in the description right below this video. You can just click on that, and Laura will send you her soulmate guide. Oh my gosh. I know so many people are going to love that. And I love this whole idea of you shift your vibration and the right guy shows up, or you start attracting better men, or your man starts to see you in a completely new way. So this was so powerful. Oh my gosh. Everyone watching, type your questions in that you have or experiences with this. And we love it when you share. We love hearing from you. Any other videos around any of these topics that you'd like us to create, I would love that. This was really, really powerful, and there's so much that we could talk about. I know we could just talk all day about this. Are there any last tips or tools, or I don't know if you're a fan of mantras or affirmations or anything that you'd like to leave everyone with when it comes to shifting your love vibration?
Yeah, so I would just give a final encouragement really to take action for yourself. Okay, so whatever that looks like for you, whether it's grabbing this free gift that I have, whether it's going on some sort of self-exploration journey, or maybe it is signing up for an online dating profile, whatever you feel that you need to move forward in this journey, I just really, really encourage you to do that. Because like I was saying earlier, there is yes, trust in a higher power and surrender to that. But remember that that's not passive, right? So we do need to take action ourselves and play a role in kind of this conscious creation of our life, which includes our love life, right? So if this is something you deeply desire, which I highly suspect it is if you're watching this, then I just really, really want to encourage you to take a step that feels really good and really aligned with you, so that you are able to explore this, right? So that you can create this in your life, because it's so possible. I know Helena and I both see that for you, and just really want to provide all the support that we can on this journey.
Yeah. So this is what I'm kind of hearing you say, just to kind of summarize everything and wrap up. Shift your vibration and then take action. So much of the time I found I can still get into this. Something doesn't feel right, and it causes us to want to just jump into action. I call it stepping into your masculine energy, which is not a bad thing when you're coming from the right place, right? But a lot of times something feels off, and we want to take action to try to fix it. We want to lean forward and start a conversation with a man and try and pull something out of him that he's not really giving us, right? We've all been there, or something like that. So what I'm hearing you saying, shift your vibe and then go online. Shift your vibe, then go out in the world and take action from that place.
Exactly. My encouragement for the action for you to take would be to look inward, to do the work on yourself.
I love that.
Say that you can't do that at the same time as being online, I feel, because sometimes these experiences are great ways to practice how we look at things, or get a closer look at that. But yeah, it's kind of the action that I'd encourage you to take is focusing inward and shifting what needs to be shifted in order to have greater success when you do those kind of outer actions.
Yeah, it's a question I get all the time. It's well, the right guy's not gonna just fall in your lap. You have to go out and live your life in public, of course, right? But yeah, I totally resonate with everything you're saying. If you want to, the action you do take needs to come from an inspired place within yourself. And I totally agree. I always say the hard work, so to speak, is on ourselves and our own blocks to love, so that the right guy can just show up. So I just love everything you say. I hope we can do another interview, because this was so fun. This was great. Yeah. Okay, perfect. So everyone, if you have questions or requests for future videos, I know these are some pretty deep concepts, so maybe we can get more and more specific as we go along. So I'll post a link to your free gift and any, your website, any way people can contact you, just send me everything. I'll post everything right down below this video in the description. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like and a comment, share it with your friends. We always love hearing from you. Thank you so much again, and I hope we can do this soon.
Yes, thanks so much, Helena. Take care, everyone.